Good day, everyone. This is your subject teacher in oral communication in context, and this video was created to have an additional discussion or a deeper discussion of some of the topics under the nature and process of communication. When you are watching this video, you can have your printed modules with you, or you can also take notes, okay, so that you can review them later on. So kindly watch the video from start to finish so that you can follow and you will learn more about the nature and process of communication. Perhaps many of you already have ideas of what communication is, but let me just give you some of the most obvious representations of communication, even when you're just in the comforts of your home. So when you wake up in the morning, and let's say you open your phone, turn on your mobile data or your Wi-Fi if you have at home, and check your social media, and you've seen one or two posts that you like, that made you laugh, that made you smile, and you click the like or heart react button, or you share a certain meme, okay, that you've seen in your newsfeed, that is already communication. Okay, that is already communication. So even if you're just you have just woken up, okay, from sleep, you're already communicating. And when you get up from your bed and you eat your breakfast, you are communicating with your family members. Perhaps you've asked your mother first, what's your breakfast for today? Or you call your brother about something, you ask a question, and so on and so forth. That's communication. So what is really communication? When we say communication, perhaps the simplest definition that I can give you is that communication is an exchange. Okay, so it's an exchange of messages between and among people using language in various platforms. Okay, so let's talk about the nature of communication first. When we say communication, it is definitely a process. When we say it's a process, there are some stages, okay, that happen during communicative activity in a scenario. And let's say the situation is you would like to confess something to your loved one, or confess your like or love to somebody, and let's say you do it through Facebook Messenger, since we have some social distancing nowadays. So let's say you do it, okay, virtually, yes, through the internet. So you do it through Messenger while you are typing whatever that you want to say. That is already the first stage, because that happens inside your mind. While you are typing, something is happening inside your mind. You are generating some ideas. You are trying to think how you're going to say it. You're thinking whether or not you're going to add some emojis, okay? Your punctuation, your choice of words, okay? So that is the first stage. And when you already hit that send button, you're already going to the next stage wherein you're already transmitting your message to the other person, which we call as the receiver. And upon receiving that message, the other person would interpret, okay, the message that you sent. So interpreting the message by the receiver happens in the mind as well of the receiver. Okay, he or she would be thinking how to respond to you, okay, or whether or not to respond to you. So if that person, let's say that person did not respond, or just because you would see in Messenger, if the person have just seen your message, that could also mean many things, and I know that you know what could that mean, okay? And let's say the person sent you back a message or responded to you. That is already what we call feedback, okay? So whether or not you the receiver would respond to you through words, or have just seen your message and did not send any reply, that is already a feedback, okay? Because that could mean something, that the person have seen your message but did not respond or reply to you. So that is what I'm talking about with regards to the process of communication. If you have any questions with regards to the process of communication, you may just comment them down below, and I will just reply later on after, okay, you've watched the video. We are still talking about the nature process of communication. Another thing that I want to share to you is that communication is not only in oral forms. It is not only communication when you are talking personally or face to face with somebody. Communication takes many forms, especially because of our technology nowadays. So when we classify communication, under communication, we have verbal and non-verbal communication. Okay? So under verbal, when we hear the term verbal, what do we mean? Obviously, we mean the use of words. Okay? So verbal communication is communication that uses words. Another is non-verbal communication. So opposite verbal communication, we know that non-verbal communication is communication without the use of words. So what do we use here? We use actions, we use body movements, we use gestures, we use our face, and that includes our facial expressions. Also included in that is our voice, our clothing, okay, and so on and so forth. So going back to verbal communication, under that we have written and oral communication. So written communication, we know that already. We use pen and paper. We use symbols, okay, which are what we call the alphabet, to be able to write. And nowadays, written communication is not only limited to using pen and paper, because we already have our gadgets, or because of technology, we also write through office documents. We in our laptops, in our gadgets, also in our phones, we also write, okay, using our digital keyboard. And another is we have oral communication, which is what our subject is dealing with. And oral communication is communication with the use of words delivered through our speech apparatus, okay? And those forms of oral communication are those that are usually face-to-face, but could also be through other means, such as through phone calls, okay? So in oral communication, we use our speech apparatus. When we say speech apparatus, this are the parts of our body involved in speaking, mainly involved in speaking, which includes our mouth, we have our teeth, we have our lips, we have other parts of our mouth and throat that are part of speaking. Without this apparatus, we can't speak. We are not able, or we cannot produce words to be able to speak. So this is what I'm saying when it comes to communication. There are many forms, and they are not only in oral or written forms, they could also be in nonverbal means. Another thing that I want to discuss in this video is the answer to this question. And I would ask you this question. If you have some ideas, I want you to comment them down below in this video, okay? And make sure to write your name and section if you are not using your real name in your YouTube account or Facebook. I mean in platforms where I will upload this. So my first question is, what do you think is the difference of hearing and listening? Okay, I would give you, okay, difference of hearing and listening, I would give you perhaps 15 to 20 seconds to share in the comment section your ideas of the difference between hearing and listening. Okay, so let's discuss, okay, what is the difference of listening or hearing versus listening. So when you say hearing, okay, when you were born, even if you're just there in the womb of your mother, even if you are not yet born but you are already there alive in the womb of your mother, actually the very first skill that one of the first skills that you learn unconsciously is hearing, because if we will observe pregnant mothers, the people around it or the mother itself would want to listen to classical music and would always want to talk to you when you are there, or to their babies when they are pregnant. They would talk to their tummies, okay, or stomachs, and talk to the baby there inside. It's because that sense of hearing is already there in you, okay, or in babies inside the mother's womb. And when we say hearing, your sense of hearing is very innate to you. Okay, it's one skill that is innate to you, that even if you don't want to hear some sounds around you, you would. Okay, you would hear them. Like for example, while I am recording this video, I could hear some of the chirping of the birds outside. Okay, the sound of the chickens, of the electric fan that I'm using now. So even if, let's say, I don't want to hear them, I don't have a choice. The sounds of these things would enter, okay, my ears, okay, and I would hear them. So that is hearing, okay. Now let's go to listening. When we say you are listening, you are hearing sounds, but you choose only one or two sounds, okay, but usually just one sound where you're going to focus your attention, okay, and that is one of the simplest way to differentiate the two, hearing and listening. Because in listening, you are more mindful in a certain sound or thing that you want to listen to. You put your attention, your utmost attention, your let's say interest, okay, in that certain sound. So first we try to discriminate the sounds and we just choose one or pick one that we're going to listen to. So that is listening. Okay, it's the same when you are in a cafeteria or canteen with full of people. Okay, let's say in your school. Okay, try to imagine. Even if there are a lot of people, uh, you can still pay attention to what your friends are talking about, especially if they're going to share your gossip. Okay, or some rumor that you might be interested in. So you would give your attention to your classmate in front of you, or to your friend in front of you who are talking. So that is listening. It's putting your attention into it. Okay? So I hope you get already the difference of hearing and listening. So another question that I would like to throw to you and give you time to answer and think about is, what is the difference between talking and speaking? What do you think? Okay, so when we say talking, let's go first with talking. When we say talking, of course, you are using your speech apparatus. You are producing words and sounds with the use of your speech apparatus. You use words as well. So that is talking. But in talking, in a way, you are unmindful of some of the words or most of the words that are coming out of your mouth. In simpler sense, when you are talking, the words and ideas that you express are mostly incoherent and they are mostly unorganized. Okay? That is what I'm uh, telling you about when it comes to talking. And if you would just imagine, for example, you've just, let me just give again as an example about your or our usual routine in the morning, wherein you've just woken up from your sleep, and you are you know what it feels like when you are just fresh from your slumber, okay, or deep sleep. Sometimes we are a bit irritated when people talk to us or ask us some questions when we are fresh from our sleep. And when we just answer whatever it is that comes into our mind without thinking of them like twice, okay, which is the one that's acceptable and advisable, that whatever you will say, you have to think more than twice, right? But if you just talk and talk and talk without organizing and thinking more deeply about what you're talking, then that's talking. Okay? So let's go to speaking. When we say speaking, it's being more mindful than talking. When you're speaking, you're mindful of your ideas. Okay? You try to first organize it. Okay? And make sure that your choice of words really fit the context, the situation. Okay? When you are doing so, when you are speaking. Okay? That's why in uh, in some programs, even in school, you don't hear the invited guest as a resource talker or guest talker. We always refer to them as guest speaker, resource speaker, okay? Because they are not just talker, okay? They don't just talk and talk and talk. They speak, okay? And speaking involves organization, preparation, okay? And it involves competence as well. It's mindful talking. Okay? You can think of it that way. Okay? So did you get already the difference between listening and hearing and talking and speaking? I hope you already get it. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope that you've learned something out of this video. If you have some questions, you can leave them here. And don't forget to check our Google Classroom and private group chat for more updates, materials, and for some tasks and assignments that you are expected to accomplish. And make sure to manage your time, okay? Sleep well, and always be healthy, okay? We need that, okay, while we are having our distance learning, okay? And always reach out to your teacher if there are things that confuse you or if you're having a hard time, okay? Thank you very much for watching and listening. Till next video.